lot of soul.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, AFCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we and the fans want to talk about today. Yes, it is the Sunline Hotline show. But Matthew, we have all kinds of stuff to talk about first, man.
Where you want to start on this? Because we got stuff on both sides of the fence, good, bad, indifferent, all sorts of crazy stuff going on in the world of professional bass
You
fishing.
kick it off, man. Kick it off, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'll start it off then with I was watching the Facts of Fishing FYI, which is Mercer standing in front of a green screen doing what Mercer does, just little kind of 5-minute tidbits that they do every week. And the rumor has it, and I haven't been able to find this anywhere else unless it's out on Bassmaster this morning, which I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. Have you seen it on Bassmaster?
No, I looked. I didn't see anything
head over
last
to
night.
the much easier to follow. I don't see it. So the rumor, if you follow this on Facts of Fishing, was that the next 3 Elite Series will be streamed on ESPN2 live for a total of 60 hours, which I would imagine would be 20 hours for each of the events, which, if that's true, would lead me to believe that they plan on these events happening, if he said it on that Facts of Fishing FYI, right?
As of right now.
Which would make 20 hours from the previous event on Eufaula, which would be 80 hours of live streaming bass fishing coverage on ESPN2. Regardless of the circumstances, that is insane.
And they didn't have to pay for it. That's the other thing.
That is absolutely insane.
They didn't pay a dime.
Where else are you going to get a bigger platform?
don't
80 hours
know,
streaming live. Total. If this happens,
you.
like I said, as a rumor, you know how he does his Mercer thing. He's like, I don't know if we can say it. Oh, we can say it. Oh, we can't say it. And then he says it.
Yeah.
So that's the rumor that's going down. That's all. That's good.
That's big time. Big time once again.
60 hours.
Big time exposure. Yeah, and the biggest thing, in my opinion, is they don't have to pay a dime for it.
It's insane. I mean, you compare that
But
to...
they need the content. Timing is everything. With nothing else really taking place, with very few exceptions, it's just couldn't have happened at a better time, man.
I mean, and right there, the BPT MLF announces that they're debuting on the Discovery Channel, their show, 7 to 9 a.m.
There's no comparison in that from a platform standpoint. Now I know you could throw the numbers out there and number of households and all this and everything, but I think from the reach of the sports fan,
Elite Series wins this round.
Yes,
like big time wins.
Yeah, the reach for the person that probably knows nothing about fishing, maybe on the Discovery Channel.
Absolutely not. There's way more, I think,
people that know nothing
about fishing that'll have ESPN2 on.
That are not sports fans?
Yeah. If you're not watching the Discovery Channel from 7 to 9 a.m. on that, you're not going to have it DVR'd.
No,
Fair point?
Good time slot point there.
Right.
Matt.
But there's a lot of people who will have ESPN on in the background during the time that they're
agree.
streaming, whether it's at work or home
100%.
or whatever. Big W for the Elite Series is that. If it actually comes out as actual fact. But, I mean, if Mercer says it, he's got the go-ahead, which means... And I don't think he'd say it if they weren't planning on having those tournaments somehow.
Here's something else that happened again yesterday, and I don't know if you know about this, but Governor Cuomo added more states to the list. And do you know what one of those states were that were added to the list?
What's that?
Oklahoma.
Okay.
All right. And they were very adamant about saying that anybody from these states that were added because of the spike, that you had to be quarantined for 14 days. So the fact that more states are being added to this original list, is that going to impact the decision on whether or not the counties, because remember we talked about on the show, the counties are going to have a lot of influence on whether or not they follow the state mandated protocol for professional athletes and athletic teams and pro teams and all that and everything, which bass is falling under that category according to everything that I'm being told. But with the addition of these new states added to the list, is this going to put more pressure on the counties to really, really follow the protocol that's been assessed by the governor's office? Did you know that?
No. I mean, kind of. Not really.
Well, you either did or you didn't, man.
I need something around that. But yeah, no one really knows exactly who, what, when, where, why. It's not like you can go back in history.
Well, no, you do
say,
know.
Well,
You do
during the
know.
last pandemic, this is how we did it.
No, but you do know what the protocol is.
Yeah.
That is known. Now, what they're trying to do is they're not trying to circumvent, but they're trying to
exemption or
adapt.
changing, adapting,
Yes.
morphing it.
So we'll see. We'll see. What I do know, once again, I did check again. Yes, there is a contingency plan in place. That I do know. 100%. But with this latest development of other states being added to this list, I don't know. We'll see. Hope they get it pulled off. But man, it's pretty crazy right now what's going down.
I mean, they got soccer on with no fans and all sorts. I mean, you're seeing a lot of events coming back without the fans. So,
well, the fans have nothing to do with this.
I know, but they're obviously
With
not
this
gonna have fans.
situation.
They're not going to have marshals.
But still, if you right now were to travel to New York, you would have to be quarantined for 14 days. That is the rule. That is the protocol. Now, if you didn't do that, obviously we read off the fines that came from that statement that was made back on June 28th or 29th or something like that. So I don't know, man. It is such a challenging time to try and get this pulled off, but they got to pull the trigger pretty soon, Matt.
If you had a trip to the St. Lawrence River, hypothetically, just to fun fish, it's on fire right now,
Yeah.
right? Would you quarantine for 14 days of your life for a 3-day trip? Would that be worth it to you? I think there's some guys that would do that.
Man, I don't know.
You'd do it for a Texoma striper. Anyway, so that's the story over on Bass, the live streaming on that. That's the update on the Elite Series. You've got the Toyota Series that was moved from Champlain to Lake Erie. They are wrapping up practice on that. That starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man. I hit the button.
Man,
again.
that's the one thing we got to work on.
It is really, really hard not to cue something up like that when I'm trying to change screen.
Let's just say you've got it down to 5 screens, and it's much cleaner. The screens are much cleaner than it was before. But every once in a while, we'll just hit the opening to the Bass Tank commercial,
Or
the opening to the
Lowrance.
Sunline or the Lowrance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for HDS
sorry.
lap, and then it stops.
I'm trying, man.
You don't have to apologize.
I'm trying.
It's all good.
It's somewhat tedious.
All right. Well, before we
the
get
process.
it,
But the Sunline Hotline show today.
Well, yeah, I spent an hour and a half last night reading Brian's.
Oh, what a great piece.
This is if you're listening to it on iTunes, you can't see it, but this is a full 2-page single space letter that deals with everything from a very educated, really enjoy reading his stuff. And he's been around for a while. So just a quick shout out to Brian from a number of different places.
Yeah.
But good stuff. Love getting those emails and comments. All right. We got to talk about it before we take calls. This is also huge news.
Yeah.
Have at it. I talked about the Elite Series.
Well, there was a story over on bassfan.com of which the title was BPT anglers likely to pay entry fees in 21. And, I just kind of glanced through it. I read a couple of paragraphs. There were some quotes in there from Boyd. And I think I mentioned last week that once the season is over, we're going to have Boyd on. And obviously, I think Boyd will address this, but I did reach out to a high-level management person with Major League Fishing and did confirm that this has been brought to the BPT anglers, but nothing is a done deal yet, according to this person that I spoke with
and
this
according
morning.
to the Bass Fan article, there's a line in here. It says the final verdict on any changes will be determined via angler vote to be conducted in the coming weeks, which results to be announced in October. But there's also a line in here that they have a quote from Boyd, who Boyd's never given a bad quote. Let's say Boyd gives good quotes.
Yeah.
Like you read his quote and you're like, it doesn't matter what it's about. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's just good at quotes. But, and then it says other BPT anglers who spoke with Bass Fan Tuesday evening seemed content with the idea that changes had to occur in order to have a viable tour in 2021. That's an interesting line.
Well, think about it. If you have followed this story at all, the number of sponsorships that they have lost due to COVID-19, due to the Evinrude situation, due to other things that are involved in this business, the revenue has to come from somewhere.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to print it in the back room.
But this, regardless of what it is, this is a step back. There's no other way to get around that.
Could be.
It is 100% a step back.
Well, here's the deal. Remember what the guys did at the beginning of the season this year. What did they do? They voted on what?
A lot of things. They vote on whatever they want to over there.
What did they vote on
that
had a huge impact on the season, though?
The 2 pound minimum.
No.
Did they not? I feel like they did that at the beginning of the season.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I don't know what they vote on.
They voted on whether they're going to have entry fees or no entry fees. That was voted on before the season even started.
Before this season?
Yes.
Okay.
So they decided that, nope, we're going no entry fees. So what they did is they built the payout plan, the revenue plan, the cost plan, whatever you want to call it, based upon a no entry fee format. All right. And with the sponsorship and with the revenue streams that they had, they were able to accomplish that. Based upon what Boyd said in that comment, and based upon, obviously, the fact that they may have to pay entry fees, all right, be it voted on. Yeah, they may not have entry fees, but what's going to happen to the prize fund if they do that?
It'll either stay or grow.
No, if they don't vote.
Oh, it'll shrink massively.
It'll shrink.
Okay. But do you not, this is if they do start paying entry fees, it is a massive blow to the BPT and MLF based on their stance and how much they have promoted.
You know, people are going to say, oh, you're just sticking up for Major League Fishing, Mark, and all that. Is it a massive blow? No. Is it a setback? Yes, absolutely.
I think, okay, I'm going to go to the October 30th, 2018 press release that MLF came out with.
Okay.
When they announced that that they had voted that there were no entry fees.
Yep.
I'm just going to read a section of it, okay?
Have at it.
The no-fee decision is the first of its kind for a high-stakes professional bass fishing series and reveals the kind of autonomous authority the Bass Pro Tour participants have as a group to guide the future for events, blah, blah, blah. And then Gary Klein comes in and he talks about what brought this great group of anglers together in the first place with the allure of being able to ultimately control our own destiny because collectively we now make the rules, right? It's all about the big picture and what we want for this sport to be and getting it there. We call this major league fishing for a reason, and no entry fees is a monumental move in our achieving that distinction. So that's Gary Klein saying what sets them apart right there is the fact that they are not paying entry fees.
Well, he said it was a monumental move.
Yes.
Okay. And it was. Do you not agree with that?
We call this major league fishing for a reason, and no entry fees is a monumental move in our achieving that decision.
That's an accurate statement.
So now saying to go back to entry fees.
It's a setback.
Yeah.
It's a big time setback.
Whether it be, obviously a necessary setback because it's not like, hey, everything's going great. Let's just add the entry fees back in. But
look, you have a choice. When you run a business, you have a choice. You can do two things. Right? You can go in debt and keep things the same, or you can come up with ways to generate additional revenue to where you don't have to borrow what you need to be successful. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Say that one more time.
You have one of two things you can do. Okay? You can either generate more revenue.
Right.
Or you can go in debt and borrow the money that you need to maintain whatever level of business revenue streams that you have based upon the cash that you need to maintain the same levels. In simple terms, you can either borrow the money or you can generate more revenue.
Well, I would rather go with generate more revenue option, which is very difficult in this climate right now.
But what are they doing to generate more revenue?
Entry fees.
There you have it. That's what I'm saying. So if this goes that direction, they're making a choice. They don't want to continue to borrow more money.
Right.
They would rather.
I get it.
But look, dude, I get what you're saying. And I get where the statement came from that Gary Klein made back in 2018.
Yeah, you could go back and do the archives of the anglers talking about what it means to.
I agree. You can go back and look at stuff that they've said for the past 5 years.
Right.
But the moment that this situation has taken place and the revenue streams have went away,
you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to go in debt?
Or do you want to pay entry fees?
Or do you want to pay entry fees?
Now, here's the thing. If you're going to pay entry fees, okay, they don't have an established championship.
Yeah.
It's the title this year. The cup has gone away. The MLF World title isn't really recognized, right? I mean, they don't have they had it, then they did away with it. The Forrest Wood Cup, something that's been around for 20 years.
And that may come back.
Well, they don't have a championship. So if you're paying entry fees to win something, what do you want to win? You want to win something that sets you up. Yeah. So if you're going to pay entry fees, don't you think a lot of those guys would like to pay entry fees to try to win perhaps a title like a Bassmaster Classic?
It's a great point, and I'm sure there's going to be some guys out there that are pissed off because they did not make the move in order to pay entry fees. All right, and I could hear it right now. I have no idea who's going to say this or if somebody's going to say it, but I would say the odds are pretty good. All right, if I'm going to pay entry fees, by gosh, I want to fish for a Bassmaster Classic. You think somebody out there is going to say that?
Think?
You know, and they kind of have a point from the perspective of, I came over here thinking that I wasn't going to have to pay entry fees.
Now, in a sense, remember when it was originally formed, until that group was formed, the first thing they did was vote not to pay entry fees. But originally,
I just said that. Yes.
No. Originally, when they came over, there were entry fees. 100%. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
There were. When this thing was pitched over the lead, there were entry fees. Then the first thing they did was vote for no entry fees.
Right. Because they had the revenue streams to be able to do that.
Right.
So whatever way that they decide, it's going to be one of two things. They're either going to have to do actually one of three things. They're either going to have to get a bunch more sponsorship revenue, or they're going to have entry fees, or they're going to have to go in debt and borrow money. And borrowing money is never a good thing in situations like this. So
there's also some information in here about the layout too. Did you read that? The proposed layout for the 2021 is 6 regular season BPT events, 4 cups, 2 championships, Red Crest, and then the Big Fish heavy hitters.
You know, what's that work out to?
And then the MLF World Championship would be eliminated in this scenario. Yeah. So there you go. There's your World Championship is gone. So now you have no cup. You have no World Championship. You have Red Crest.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything here about their participation in the FLW Pro Circuits this year, but I think that's also a possibility too.
They're not going to schedule on top of those.
No. But do you think that the BPT guys will fish be able to fish the FL? Okay, listen, if you're a BPT guy who doesn't make any of these 4 cups, now you're down to 6 BPT events. Now you're doing a COVID season in 2021, fishing 6 tournaments, 12 days the entire year.
I don't know.
I think there was good feedback on the Super Tournament.
Yeah. I don't know. And then what about the whole thing where next year in 2021, after that season, are you not going to have 10 guys drop out?
Each angler would be guaranteed to participate in 2 of the 2021 Cups, regardless of their standings.
That has to be with the 10 that are going to drop out.
And each would also sit out 2. What the heck?
I don't know.
That's a you get a you suck, but you still get a participate trophy now?
I don't know.
Who knows?
All right, but the plan is right now, once Boyd gets done with his event this week and things kind of settle down a little bit, once he gets back, we're going to have him on the show, and hopefully he can dive in and explain a little bit more in detail what the scenarios are. What we do know, though, is nothing is done. Nothing is in stone yet. Agree with that, Matthew?
100%.
So it's challenging times, folks.
And it doesn't sound
really
like
is.
it's a long term, like, hey, you're going to pay, it could be a 1-year deal, and then they go right back to the no entry fees after they get things rolling again.
I mean, what happens if they go out and they get this non-endemic that wants to pay them, X amount of dollars? And then they get another one. And then they get another one. Who knows if that's going to happen. But what I do know is if you want to keep the payback at the levels that they are at, you got to get the money from somewhere. Either sponsors, the anglers, or borrowing the money from somebody. Pretty simple, Matthew.
Yeah, they're actually, payout's going to go up with the entry fees.
Yeah.
7.6
because they still have money.
compared to 5.9.
Dude, they still have money. They still have a revenue stream that they're going to be able to add to the prize fund. It's just, I guess they're not going to have the revenue streams at the levels that it is needed to be at to maintain a no entry fee structure.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they want to massively build up the prize fund, if that's what the guys decide to do. I don't know, man. It is, once again, it is a very, very challenging situation. And unfortunately, decisions are going to have to be made. Tough decisions are going to be made from an organization standpoint, from an angler standpoint. And I think decisions are being made already from a sponsorship standpoint. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy, man. Who would have thought? Does any of this take place if we don't have the COVID-19 situation? I think it still becomes challenging, but I think the COVID-19 situation just magnified everything. I really do. There were some challenges that were there for Major League Fishing, even without COVID-19. There were challenges there for the Elite Series and Bass, even without the COVID-19 situation. So FLW, it's weird, man. FLW just kind of keeps just cruising along.
It'll be interesting to see what the entry fees are then, because you've got the highest single tournament entry fees being paid that I can remember in history at $5,700 per FLW event.
Yeah.
The Elite Series is $5,000 something, but they guaranteed get $2,500 back of that every tournament, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They still pay out $25 to the last, even this year.
I think so.
So
this year, yeah, I think so. All right, so that's kind of our take on what's going down on that. Man, a lot of stuff going to happen over the next few months, and in the meantime, you have ICAST, this virtual ICAST thing, getting ready to kick off next week. I do want to mention this, folks. If you are in, and Matt, I don't know if you know about this, if you are in the Arkansas region, kind of northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, there's an event that's going to take place that if you are having any interest in a bass boat, you need to go check this out. All right. And I'm talking about Basscat is having this demo day on Norfolk Lake on Tuesday, July 14th. And they are taking enormous precautions with the COVID-19 situation to give the fans, give the consumers an opportunity to ride and actually demo a number of their brand new boats that they're coming out with. Now, here's some of the ones that are going to be there. The Jaguar 450R is going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just go ride in that
go
one.
Ride
that
in that
nuts.
One. Yeah. All right. The Lynx with the 300 Pro XS, the new Cougar FTD with the 250 Pro XS, the Pantera 2, the Puma, the 203 hybrid and the 2019 TFX with a 400 Verado on it. So all kinds of, and I think they're going to have a few others there, but if you've never been to a demo day, this is the perfect situation to go to when you have everybody that's associated with Bass Cat Boats. They're on hand to answer any questions that you might have, all right, and actually get to see how these boats perform on a great body of water.
It's worth it just to go see the Jag.
Oh, yeah, with the
the Jag is a freak show.
It is, all right?
In a good way.
So, hey, we don't talk about these kind of events that often on this show, but I think with everything going on, it would be a really, really good trip if you could manage to get away and spend some time with Rick Pierce and his staff on what they have going on at Norfolk. If you need more info, just go to the Bass Cat website and you can check out all the information. It's going to start at 8 a.m. They're going to go all the way to 3 p.m. at Panther Bay Marina is where they're going out of.
Ironic.
What's that?
Well, it's Bass Cat. They name all their boats after large cats.
Yeah.
And they're going out of Panther Bay Marina.
Yeah. So good point, Matthew. Anybody in that area, please go take a test ride. And by the way, mention, hey man, thanks for being a part of the BTL sponsor lineup. Bass Cat has been on board for a number of years now, and Rick Pierce and his staff just do a tremendous job. But this is a big time opportunity for you to get in a boat that you might have some interest in. And obviously, I think the rides in the Jaguar are going to be at a high demand just to get in that boat and see what top end. I don't know how fast that boat goes, but it's pretty fast. So there you have it. More information, just go to basscat.com and enjoy the demo days. They have this new tagline. It's called Excellence in Action. That's what you're going to see if you make your way to Norfolk on July 14th. All right. What else, Matthew? Anything else? And then we'll take a break. And I need the telephone number. I don't even have the phone number.
I don't have the phone number. Where is the phone number?
Well, it's on the website right below where you guys are watching. It's 405.
I got the YouTube pulled up.
405. Help me out. I had
what
it
are you want me to
down.
pull? You want me to pull up the?
That's pretty bad. Here, I got it somewhere. I did not do a good job on my prep work here. Pre-show prep work. It's pretty bad. It's the Sunline Hotline show, and I don't even have the Sunline Hotline number. It's right underneath where the video is.
405.
Okay. 405.
253.
Okay.
I'm mildly dyslexic, so I have to make sure I don't switch these around. 5543.
That's it.
405 253 5543.
All right, there you have it, folks. We will get to phone calls, and we're actually going to have maybe a couple of video guests that actually sent in emails, and I sent them back the link. So we will bring them in video-wise to the Sunline Hotline show. Wow, just a pretty big news day, Matthew.
Yeah.
All right, let me do this. Did I miss anything? Hopefully I didn't.
I got everything covered that I wanted to.
All right, we'll take a break, come back. Phone calls, video guests right here on the Sunline Hotline show. Everybody stay tuned.
Or Structure Scan 3D and get up to $500 cash back.
Yeah, you care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Luz doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
Hey everybody, Todd Faircloth here. Want to show you one of my favorite braided lines, SX1 30-pound Sunline braid. I use this braided line for a couple of different applications, and one of my favorites to use for this line is a swim jig. Casts great, and it's small diameter, and it just works really great on a swim jig. Another technique I like to use for 30-pound SX1 Sunline braid is whenever I'm flipping like a light, say an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight in grass, small diameter, I don't lose much action on my worm, just works great in those scenarios. So if you're looking for a braided line for a swim jig or fishing a light Texas rig, check out Sunline's SX1 30-pound braid.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday. Sunline Hotline show. One of my favorite shows to do. And we have callers waiting already, Matthew. We have a video guest waiting. So let's do this. Let's go to the caller first. And then after the caller, we will go to our video guest. Hopefully this will work. Hey, who is this? You there, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, who is this?
Hey, Leighton Davis. How's it going?
Good. Where are you calling from, Leighton?
North Carolina.
All right, man. What's on your mind today?
Nothing much, man. I just want to tell y'all, I love y'all's show. I listen to it every day. I'm in sales, so I drive around all day, and man, y'all's show it's awesome. I love what y'all are doing.
Thanks. Thank you.
But I kind of wanted to ask Matt about fishing the opens. That's something I'm looking at pursuing here in the next year or two, and see if he had any thoughts, ideas, do's and don'ts about fishing the opens. I pretty much watch his videos every night. One of the ones he did for AFCO, and I just wanted to get his opinion on it and see if he could help me out any.
Fishing that open level. So I did not fish the coastas last year or the opens this year to make money. It was something that I did not do, and I mean I'm 35 now, and I fished them in 2015. But until I could go there and know, hey, I can fish all 4 of these events without being financially destroyed. Should I go 0 for 4? I avoided putting myself in that scenario, and I thought, it just opened me up to doing a few more options, if that makes sense on it. So if you're in that scenario and you're comfortable with your skill set and ability, then I say freaking go for it. Here's the way I would look at it too. Like, so, I mean, I played club hockey, but I skated for 22 years of my life, pretty much 3 to 6 times a week. If you're still having to think about stick handling, skating, shooting, how to put the pads on, don't fish the opens. But if it's crossing your mind, launching the boat, running, you're not comfortable with stuff, stick to lower level. But as soon as that stuff becomes like walking, talking, breathing, then yeah, go for it.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
If that helps at all.
Oh no, it does. It's just such a big jump. You don't know. There's no way to know if you can walk until you run at that level, I guess.
Yeah, and
I know there's BFLs and all that, but
I guarantee everybody fishing for the first time, we talked to Brad about this when he was in studio. I mean, unless you're just like some freak of nature, there's going to be self-doubt at some point. There's going to be questions. There's going to be self-doubt. And I actually, my mom, when I was a little kid, because I had like massive anxiety, used to always be like, once you do it, you look back and analyze it, and it's never as bad as you anticipated it being. And I over the course of the past 5 years in this fishing, as I progress, you realize it's never as bad as you anticipate it. Like I go to the Arkansas River, I'm like, how the hell am I going to get around this place? How am I going to get through all this stuff, figure all this stuff out? It's never as bad as you anticipate it. Just take it step by step by step and look back on it, and you're like, dude, that's freaking cool.
All right.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I also wanted to ask you guys, I grew up watching the Bassmasters and the Elite Series and wanted to make the Elite Series since I was 10. But do you guys think the BBT will be here in 10 years? I was listening to the first part of the show, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to tell that. I've talked about this before. There are numerous formats, changes, ownerships. I mean, if you look back at Bass with the Ray Scott and then the Helen Sevier and then the ESPN and then McGinnis and now the new ownership, and then you look at FLW and then the formats within all of that. I mean, it's been tour events and E50s and invitationals and now the Elite Series, which actually has been around for 14 years now, which is the longest kind of running single thing. So I see a lot of changes in everything because the sport's pretty young, actually, if you think about it. I mean, it's not like it's been around for hundreds of years. You're talking 50. They just had the 50th Classic 50 plus years. The guy who won the first Classic still walking around the Classic Expo, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in 10 years? Because I think you see a lot of changes younger in sports than you do. I mean, look, you had 3-point lines and all that stuff that all came, in major sports. So I think it's impossible to answer that question, but I think in its current form, no. I think it'll change just like everything else changes.
I feel like I am the diehard bass fan. Obviously, I'm calling into a bass fishing show on the radio. But I feel like the way the BPT started kind of alienated a lot of the hardcore bass fans five fish format is what everybody has to fish, and to make that look bad and then suddenly it's all right to go back to it. Yeah, it kind of alienated a lot of people that are who they need to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I felt personally.
No, I mean, I'm sure it did, but I'm also sure that when bass went from 15 fish to 7 fish, or 15 fish to 10 fish to 7 fish to 5 fish, there were people going, oh, why are we doing this? And when they went to catch and release with a dead fish penalty, there were guys saying, oh, they're changing all this stuff. And when they made all these rules, but as time passes, it becomes the norm then, and you understand that there's rules for why they did that. And I think even this year with the 2-pound minimum, you're seeing the change to where I think a lot of people, and yeah, Mark, would you agree that they made some PR blunders early on in the way that they presented 100%. It to the average fan and try and aside from that, the format as it is, I think you're seeing a lot more people, even if it's not their cup of tea, accepting the format, being familiar with it, and then being able to contextualize how a performance is because we've got 10 to 12 of these things under our belts now.
All right, man.
And the 2-pound fish thing helped a lot.
Yeah.
That helped a ton. But yeah, hey, I appreciate you guys taking my call.
All right, man. Take care.
See you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you. All right, there you have it. Sorry, I had a little disaster I had to take care of.
Do we get that little blue? Can we hear that? Is that people calling in? Where
Yeah.
it goes, oh,
Yeah, it's
you
just-
figured out how to mute that before.
Well, it's notifying me that we have another call.
Right.
So
Can you mute it?
I thought I was, but
Maybe you have now.
I don't know. All right, we need to go to this video call now.
Okay.
All right, it's Adam Deacon, I think is how you say his name. Let's see if we can bring him in here now. Adam, you there, man?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
How are you? Look at him, man. He's got the setup there, Matt.
Heck yeah, he's got the flag in the background. He's got the podcast microphone.
He's got
dialed
it going
in.
on. All right, so what's on your mind, Adam?
Where are you from, first of all?
Yeah, Colorado, man. Yeah, guys.
Oh, Colorado.
Where did you say? Where? Oh, you guys hear me?
Yeah, I got it. Colorado.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
yesterday's show,
We got
I
a little
wanted
bit of a
to.
delay, but no, not bad.
Yeah, there's
Here,
a little delay.
Yeah, here,
Yes,
let's do this, all right? Because he was on for a long
You
time.
think
Here.
it got round up?
We're
Okay.
gonna cut you off and then bring you right back in. So just click on the link again, and then we'll bring you right back in,
Okay.
Adam.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, he's gone. All right, we'll bring him back.
That's the other issue with the new. If you have a guy in the queue for a
For a
long
long
time, it
time.
seems like it.
Yeah,
Other than that, it's dialed.
yeah. And then we'll go back to the phone lines when we get. Man, he had the setup there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I had a little. Carolyn was texting me, going, "What is going on? What is going on?" Blah blah. And so I had to go take care of that
Because
real
you
quick.
had the
Yeah,
cleaners
the-
coming
yeah.
and they couldn't get in the house.
Get in, man.
Why didn't you just leave the door open that says, "Hey"?
I did. I had a note on the door.
Well,
but
why didn't they read the note?
Dude, I don't know. It is what it is. So
Well, that's not your fault.
no, she was in panic mode, so I had to get that. taken
Typically,
care of.
when you run out and say, "I had a quick emergency," the cleaners is not the first thing people think of happens. So,
All right, Adam, you there, man?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Okay, a little bit of delay, but that's okay. All right, man, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so yesterday's show, guys, was awesome talking about kind of how there's not really any PR on the contracts with pro anglers. And it's really interesting. It got me kind of thinking. And it's like some of these guys maybe are kind of utilizing it from their own standpoint, like Carl Jochimson posting yesterday about his Evinrude motor or going to the next. He's like, look, interested to see who's coming on next as far as what the motor company goes. And I'm just interested to see if any motor companies come out and fill that gap with Evinrude leaving. If Mercury's going to kind of take things over again, or if we're going to see Suzuki and Yamaha and Honda, some of these other brands that aren't really all that common, come into play.
Matt, you can go first.
I would like to see a study or hard proof of how what engine an angler runs drives sales. Like, did people run Evinrudes because Jacob Wheeler ran an Evinrude? Like, were there people that's what they ran? Because I know, and I'll use an old example, I personally know people who ran champion boats because Skeet Reese used to run a champion boat and they love Skeet Reese and they had a champion because of that. But I'm really interested in how professional angling drives motor sales, right? So I think if those companies feel like there is a distinct link between Angler X helps us sell more engines, then yeah, I think you could see a big jump in these anglers getting scooped up and paid money for it. But I mean, is there an opportunity? Yeah, like we saw what Suzuki did with like Dean Rojas and Pipkins and Cliff Perch and a number of those guys. I mean, that's like a recognizable brand now, like the Suzuki, right? Would you not agree? The SS with the red and the stripes and all that. Well, I mean, they went up and scooped up a bunch of household names and no one had ever seen a dang 250 Suzuki before. And now it's like standard on the tour. So do those guys help bring brand awareness and make it a more viable option for you when you go purchase? I would say, yeah.
Well, and kind of your thoughts on this too, Matt. I was at the Central Open and fished as a co, and I saw a Yamaha trailer, I saw a Mercury trailer, but I didn't see a Suzuki trailer, right? I mean, I haven't seen a Honda trailer. Are those guys? I mean, I've heard Pipkins talk about how he's more of a conservative driver in the first place, as far as he's not going to maybe necessarily make that super long run or go way back somewhere where he's going to blow a lower unit. Is there the thought process, well, maybe Suzuki will step up enough to where they're going to bring on some of these pros, but also have a trailer at these events?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I mean, I know that some of the guys with the lesser ran motors, I mean, the company will send them extra parts. I mean, they'll have an extra lower unit and stuff that could happen in the truck there. And then a lot of those guys will have relationships, or they'll learn how to do it themselves, but they have relationships with someone like, hey man, bottle of Jack if you help me put this lower unit back on here, even though that's not exactly your division or your motor. So I mean, there's taken care of in a sense, but yeah, it's not just like pull in and they have 4 guys on the boat changing everything. But yeah,
I think you make a great point, Matt, about what is going to drive the revenue, and does professional personnel truly drive the needle in increasing the amount of sales that take place. Now, I think when you see a very big name guy that makes a switch, and I think the impact that will be made with whatever deal that Wheeler signs with will definitely have some type of revenue impact on that brand. But here's the deal. I think this whole COVID-19 situation has shown many aspects of this industry that relationship with the middle to lower tiered guy isn't as important as the marketing and the promotions that they put together that go directly to the consumer. All right. So I think you're going to see some very, very difficult times from a sponsorship standpoint on the lower tier to the middle tier guys for the big deals. All right. I think the deals that the middle tier to the lower tier guys are going to get, they're going to get discounts. They might even get, free product. But I think most of the resources are going to be given to what I classify as the franchise player. Here's the other thing. You made the comment about the trailers and the crew and everything. I know for a fact that there have been some guys that have made arrangements with, let's say, a Suzuki dealer in the area, to where if they do have an issue, they've been proactive and have a Suzuki mechanic on like standby in case something happens. Mm-hmm. In other words, they make a phone call to ABC Marine, who is a Suzuki dealer who's located right by Santee Cooper, and hey man, if I have some issues, can you help me out? Yeah, it's been prearranged. So guys out there have been proactive to try and make that. I think if there are enough Suzuki engines out there or enough Honda engines out there, that you will see a crew out there supporting them.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
One other thought I had towards all of this is, it's interesting to see like the saltwater market, right? Where it's mostly, I don't know, you see a lot of Honda, you see a lot of Suzuki, you see a lot of Yamaha, and kind of the thought process is like, maybe they would like that market a lot better because first of all, they're selling 3-4 outboards at a time, sometimes on those bigger boats. And then also it's like, they don't have to deal with bass fishermen trying to get pro deals. Right? It's like they can sell them right off the row there. So it's like, I don't know, maybe they're just like, I'd rather stay in the saltwater market anyways, or if they want to just take all over the motor market.
That's a great point. I remember when we were at Charleston and we went on a little 7-mile offshore trip, and in the bay, in the marina, all we saw were Suzukis.
Yeah.
I mean, every saltwater boat in that area was, sometimes it was double and triple Suzukis on the back of whatever they had. So that's a really good point, Adam.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys.
No, hey, man, this is cool getting them to video the Sunline hotline here, Matthew.
Heck yeah.
So we appreciate you taking time out. And, man, thanks for being a BTL fan.
Absolutely. You guys are awesome.
All right, man. Take care.
Take it easy.
All right. There you have it. Cool stuff there.
Yeah, he had it set up.
He did have it dialed in there. And as we continue, we find little glitches and stuff. But when you stay in the queue a long time like that,
yep,
it causes some issues. All right, you ready to go to the phones?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see here. Hey, who is this?
Hey, this is Tristan from North Carolina.
Tristan, how are you, man? What's on your mind today?
Good. First off, I just wanted to say thank y'all for this show. Like, it's amazing and super good, super informational. Just wanted to get that out there.
Thanks.
And also, I was wondering if y'all thought, I was listening to the show yesterday, and I was thinking about how if they would announce like their salaries and their contracts and stuff, if it would bring more promotional stuff towards the bass fishing scene.
What do you think, Tristan?
I think towards the NFL, like how the NFL does it, releases like their contracts and how much they're making and stuff.
Yeah.
It draws more fans to watch it due to everything, like them having so much more money and everything else inside of the actual organization.
All right, let me make this comment, Matt, and I want to get Tristan's thoughts on this and maybe some of the other fans. I was thinking about this yesterday. With the announcement of the Mahomes contract, $500 million, how many people, and forget about the COVID-19 situation right now, but if we were in normal circumstances, how many people would continue to support the Kansas City Chiefs and be huge Kansas City Chiefs fans? A ton of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they would sell out constantly just like they're doing now. People wouldn't say, oh, well, he's making, $500 million. There's no way I'm going to support that team anymore. Not going to do it. A very, very few people would do that. But they're still going to sell out, and they're still going to, get massive amounts of television revenue and all this and everything. Let's flip it over to fishing now. Let's say if somebody came out, say Angler Smith, and Angler Smith was a big-time angler, and he signed a $100,000 deal with Strike King and Lose, are people going to hence kind of shade away from buying Strike King and Lose because they know that this guy's being paid a lot of money and they know that he's not going to say anything bad about the company that he's representing? Is that going to take anything away from the interpretation that people say, well, I'm not using that because whatever he says, yeah, he's going to say it because he's being paid a lot of money? Are they going to shade away from buying those products, Matthew?
No, I don't think so.
I agree with you. What do you think, Tristan?
I don't believe so, because I believe that the people that are there buying the products already have a good connection with the company and are going to stay within that company no matter what happens or what goes on.
Okay, so some of the objections that I received via email of people, that was one of them, which I felt like that was the minority, a very, very small group that said, well, I'm not going to buy that because I know that he's saying what he needs to say because now I know how much he's being paid and he's going to be paid a lot of money. Well, I responded back and saying, you know what? Right now, you can pretty much bet that there are anglers out there being paid a lot of money to promote certain brands, but more importantly, they're doing it because they believe in the brand. All right? They perform with the brand. And yeah, I know back in the olden days, there were a lot of stories of guys that were
bait and switch.
Yeah, they were sponsored by Pure Fishing or Berkeley, and they would put, a Zoom brush hog in a Berkeley pack or something like that.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
What I think we're focusing on the word here is promoting. And part of a sponsorship, especially at a higher level, we'll use KVD and Strike King, for instance. Okay, yeah, they're paying him $1 zillion, but they're not just paying him $1 zillion to say, these are great baits. I catch fish with them. Look at how well I do on them. Look at me catching a fish on them. Part of that also goes into research, development, bringing ideas to the table, going to the factory, working long hours, tweaking baits for years, being a part of that brand and adding value to that brand. So yeah, that angler is going to promote that product, but part of that compensation, and I would venture to say in some situations, the majority of that compensation is for enhancing the value of that overall brand, not just pimping it on social media and at weigh-ins.
That's a great point. Great point. But I think with the exposure that is there now, obviously with the live, and you can't really hide anything, but performance is showcased now. It truly is. based upon what these guys are using. And if they are performing with the brands that they are representing, well, I think that's going to result in sales. Am I on base on that, Tristan? What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with what Matt said. As long as the people and the anglers are invested in that company, I don't think they're going to sell out for that much money into a company if they're not going to be working there, tweaking baits, and promoting the company. Because, consumers can tell whenever you're lying about a product. It's not like they just think that, okay, they're just going to say, you buy this product, okay, I'll buy it too. I mean, they're not going to say that. They're going to know that you're selling something out.
It's a great point. Great point. All right, man. We appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
All right, man.
Have a good day.
All right. Take care. Yeah, I think the button worked.
There you go.
Yeah, because I have to put it on Do Not Disturb, and now we have no phone calls.
Oh.
I might have hit the wrong button. So out there, what is the phone number again? 405. Hang on, I got it right. 405-253-5543. That's the number. We want to hear from you. And, yeah, man, that show yesterday, probably one of the most responsive shows from getting emails from people that we've had in a long time. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's see here. Hey, who is this?
This is JD in Illinois. How you guys doing?
JD, what's on your mind today, man? Doing well.
Hey, good. You guys had Ken Duke on last week, right?
Yep.
And,
yep.
And we're just, I have a kayak and tackle and fishing shop here in Illinois, and man, I tell you what, it's been crazy since we've kind of opened up again. I mean, I'm out of stock on all kinds of stuff. You're talking about, Academy not having stuff in. I mean, my Googan bait, end cap is just basically destroyed. I can't get anything. I mean, the suppliers don't have anything, and now the biggest issue I think is going on is that a lot of the bait manufacturers had to shut down, and now they're restarting up again. I think you guys talked about it too. Is that they're coming out with the next year's stuff, and I'm dealing with the same thing in kayaks. Man, I can't even keep kayaks in stock, and I've got people calling me from all over the country looking for kayaks.
Wow,
it's just a crazy time.
Wow.
So what do you just tell them? Sorry, don't have them. And lose a sale? I mean, I'm serious. I mean, because this is a chain of events where you'd have someone, if you had it, they'd sell it, you'd make a profit on it. But I mean, you kind of get screwed out of this deal as the end guy. You have to be like, yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, and the tough part too is like I have like 3 major wholesalers that I deal with, and they're having a hard time fulfilling orders, even if they have it in stock. I don't know if, I think one of them says they're having a hard time keeping employees in the warehouse and, and trying to be safe with how they, get the product out into the boxes and out to the shippers to get to the retailers. And it's just, it's kind of tough. I've got 2 outstanding orders right now, and, and they're for product that people want. And so I'm sitting here and I can't even get it in the door.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I've had numerous photos sent to me from big box stores to, little mom and pop shops of empty shelves. But I was in an Academy this past weekend, and the shelves were starting to load up just a little bit, trickling back in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, like, I mean, I've had, March, of course, was horrible because I had to shut down for a couple of weeks, and then I was open for, by appointment and stuff through March, or not March, but April and May. And May was crazy busy. I mean, I was looking when we shut down, I had just loaded up in boats. I'm going, man, I hope I can sell these things now. I'm looking over there. I have 3 kayaks that I have left right now.
Wow.
And I'm waiting on orders from all 3 of the manufacturers that I carry. So, and I've got people calling me every day looking for them.
JD, let me ask you this. So kayak fishing's been exploding there in the tournament scene and on YouTube and stuff with all the do you have and Jordan Lee and those guys all have got Ike has a kayaks and stuff. Do you have people who come in and say, I want the kayak that I saw Ike fishing out of, I want the kayak I saw Jordan Lee, I want the kayak that this guy who won this tournament was in, hook me up?
Not usually. I get a lot of folks that, because they're sitting around watching TV every now and then, you'll see a kayak, kayak fishing show, Chad Hoover and them guys, and they kind of gravitate towards what those guys are doing, and then also it's more the local fishermen, the local guys around here, the local tournaments, and by local I mean for me it's Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, and even some in Missouri. I've sold boats to all those, and Kentucky. I've sold boats in all those states, and I think it's more of what they see other people, fishing out of. I mean, that's one way. That's how I'm seeing it, at least from my standpoint. But it does help to have those guys, putting out YouTube videos and stuff like that, because it does put the spotlight on the kayaks for sure.
All right, one more quick question. I'm curious, and you don't have to answer this, but I would kind of think your gross revenue in sales, annual sales, less than $1 million or greater than $1 million?
Oh, less than.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a small little shop.
All right, so my question is...
We're working on it.
Okay, do you have people that come in after a big tournament, and I don't care what organization, after it's been promoted and exposed and showcased what the guy that won or guys that finished in the top 5 had success on, do you have people come in and request those baits in your smaller venue?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. I think that's very important.
The big boxes don't have them, and then I do, and then whatever I have is gone, and then you try and get it from the wholesaler, and they're out of stock. So that's an easy way to tell what people are buying is just go on your wholesalers' sites and see what's out of stock, and that's usually what people are wanting.
All right. So performance definitely has an effect in the amount of revenue that's generated for your store.
Oh, for sure. For
Okay.
sure.
All right.
And just as an example, last month was a record month for me, period, in revenue. So it was crazy.
Wow.
Awesome.
And it would be even higher if I had more kayaks.
Congrats.
Well, great job, man. Thanks for being a BTL fan and calling in.
Hey, and you bet. And I might be able to get you hooked up with somebody to get you on a kayak, man.
Okay. All right. Just shoot me an email, man. We'll get that done. I'm ready.
All righty.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
All right. See you. All right. Very interesting call.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's good stuff. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Who is this?
That is Binkwood from Michigan.
Bill?
Binkwood.
No,
Oh,
Binkwood.
Binkwood. Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I have a little insight on your sponsorship question. A buddy of mine is a rep for a major electronics company I'm not going to name. He negotiated a deal with a major pro a couple of years ago. The pro initially asked for $30K as a signing bonus, and they flat out refused it. They told him they don't pay anybody anything. You get product, and then you get paid appearances, but there's no, signing bonus or just signing your name and getting paid.
Interesting.
So, and it sounds like it's real specific to, how big of a name it is, as far as how much you're going to get for an appearance. So that's probably why they don't, broadcast how much one guy's getting and how much another guy's getting, because it would cost all the companies more money. Because, if, I don't know, Edwin Evers hears that Ski Reese is getting this much money, I want that. I'm a better pro than he is, or, whatever.
Oh, you're dead on, because what happens in professional sports? What do you think the next guy's going to ask for after the Mahomes deal?
I had 250 more yards in receiving than this guy did, and look what he's getting paid.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, man. Great point. Anything else, man?
So, anyway, no, that's it. Hey, great show. You guys, keep it up.
All right. Thanks, man. No, that I actually thought about that yesterday, because think about what the next big quarterback contract is going to be after that, especially if he puts up ridiculous numbers. Mm-hmm. It's got to stop, though, Matthew. We talked about that yesterday. You have to get to a point where that amount of money, they're just not going to pay it anymore. The consumer, the fan, is finally going to say, I'm not paying $750 for a seat at a football game for 3 hours. Eventually, that time will come. When that happens, who knows? All right, let's go back to the phones. Hey, who is this? You there, man? Hello. No, not there. All right, let's go to this one. Hey, you there, man? Who is this?
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello.
who is this?
What's that?
Who is this?
Craig.
Craig,
what's going on?
where are you calling from, man?
Oneida Lake.
Oh, Craig, how are you, man?
Good. I didn't know Mark had people screening the calls. I thought you just kept calling until you got in.
Nobody's screening, man. It's just the phone. The phone thing is lit up. Sorry, man.
I can barely hear you.
Oh.
All right. Well,
he did put to bed the rest. It is Oneida Lake, not Lake Oneida.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oneida Lake.
All right, man. What's on your mind?
A couple things. It's a pet peeve. We're in central New York, not upstate New York. Upstate would be Albany, where Cuomo is. The second thing is, isn't the BPT set up basically the same business model as bass? I mean, the anglers don't own the BPT, so there's a collective group of guys that bought in. So it's basically the same thing, and now they're back to paying entry fees. And third thing, your iTunes is fixed. Yesterday was the first time my stuff downloaded right after the show. So whatever you did with them worked. And now
Hopefully.
I can make comments where before I couldn't.
Hopefully. All right, let's keep our fingers crossed. That has been an ongoing thing. Matt has seen me on the phone with these knuckleheads, and I have really, really done everything that I can potentially do, even threaten
Yeah, I never blamed
moving.
you for it, but it was funny. I would have to erase everything
Yeah.
in order to get your shows.
That's so weird.
And then it would download every show you ever did, and then
I
you have
know.
to go back through and get rid of everything. But
Sorry.
now it seems to be working.
All right, that's good news.
It's a totally different model. The BPT anglers do own the BPT.
Yeah.
Like they are. Like
Oh,
they're-
I didn't think they did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's the
I thought it was
Anderson.
just Skeet. I thought it was Skeet and Kevin and
There's like 12 of them.
Gary and Boyd.
There's like 12 to 14 of them, something like that.
I don't know what the number
So
is.
not every single person
Okay, so it's
that
not
fishes
everybody
it owns it, but there are angler stakes in the BPT, whereas there are not angler stakes in bass, right, Mark?
Correct.
Like that's the Anderson Media Group.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
Right now, I'm watching some of the pros that have been here quite a while out. I'm sitting on my porch overlooking the lake, and I do see some of the pros out here.
Practicing for the Open coming up?
I don't know. One of them used to live here, so
Okay.
he's been here a while. I'm not sure if they're just fun fishing or practicing.
There's supposed to be an Open coming up in a couple weeks out
Right.
there. So
In August.
there could be some guys who wanted to get into New York before the New York swing so that they could.
Right.
Maybe we're working out their 14-day quarantine on Oneida.
So you've been following that, haven't you, Craig? I mean, are we pretty much dead on everything that we've reported from a New York standpoint?
As far as
the 14-day quarantine, the
well,
protocols.
they haven't really. Nobody's really released anything specifically towards the bass fishing, so it's hard to say what's really going on.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that is the 14-day thing that Cuomo stated is in effect. But I'm not sure how it's going to affect these guys with the sports part of it that you guys were talking about yesterday. I'm not sure how that plays into it.
All right.
But hopefully it does help them, and we do have the tournament, all the tournaments here. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens because they haven't posted anything yet.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being a longtime fan. I'm glad the YouTube or the iTunes thing is taken care of.
Yeah, it's working great. Thanks.
All right, man. Take
and,
care.
Love the show.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, we'll talk to you.
See you.
Bye.
All right. Wow, that's that's good news on the iTunes thing.
Mm-hmm.
I sent out a couple more emails on the video calls, but I have nobody in the queue. I guess
That's fine.
they changed their mind. I just switched it over, so now the phone lines are open. Once again, the number is 405-253-5543. We'll take a couple more calls today. Kind of a long show, but man, a lot to talk about. And here, I want to do this. You know, we do these Sunline Hotline shows kind of once a month, but you, the fans, tell me, shoot me an email or put something on the instant feedback. whether you would like to see one additional show per week where we do nothing but talk to the fans. In other words, true sports talk radio. Right? Yeah, we may have a guest, we may not, but really the format is true. Let's listen to the fans. Let's listen to what you have to say. And maybe a fourth show per week would be the fans show. So send me emails. Let me know.
Can you add the phone number to the ticker on the bottom of the screen?
I can. It might take me a minute. All right.
That's a great idea.
To figure that out.
From Brian.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure that out. All right, let's go to the phones.
Wisniewski.
Yeah. Who is this? Hey, who is this?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, who is this? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Alex from Alabama.
Alex, what's on your mind, man?
I wanted to call about, you guys don't really ever talk about this, but what do you guys think about the whole Googan Squad thing and everything on YouTube that's happening right now?
Me? I think it's great. They're getting kids into fishing. They obviously have their sponsorship game down. I do Kurt Dove's youth camp at Amistad there, and every year that I go, I see kids who are treating fishing like they're treating their baseball, their soccer, their football, their hockey, their golf, and I know for a fact that the Googan Squad has a massive impact on those kids and why they're in it. So I'm all for it. I like watching them. I actually watch them. I just watched Flair catch a giant flathead. It's a totally different. It's a totally different world that they're in than the tournament fishing, and you're seeing it merge just a little bit. But yeah, I don't have a single bad thing to say about them. Do you, Mark?
No, nothing at all. There is obviously a massive following with kids and a number of other young adults, and it is very, very informative and entertaining from that standpoint, what they do.
Yeah.
So, no, man, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching it too. John B's my favorite product.
Yeah.
I remember I was at a media event on Table Rock one time. John B was there. And I was just walked us and what are you here? Oh, this was before they were even like big. He's like, hey man, I'm a YouTuber and stuff like that. And then, I mean, he's got more notoriety than anyone else who was there at this point.
Yeah.
I like what Ken Duke talked about. What did he say about like, not not micro famous, but like you've got either people who are fans or people who haven't heard of them. There's like no in between like there is with the normal curve. Yeah. And I think you're seeing that, but they definitely drive sales and get kids into fishing and adults too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Alex. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks. Love the show. Keep going, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Yeah.
I do have sources.
I have the number up there.
Yeah, well, I have sources that I don't even know. Should I go there? So unnamed sources unofficially Cayuga might be in question. Cayuga is in question. I don't think they're going to fish the Cayuga event.
Really?
I had seen, just saw a pro angler post on there. I guess it is. Yeah. So, no Cayuga.
That's a definite?
That's a definite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Reliable sources.
Yes.
Okay. So what are they going to do? Just have a 2-stop swing then?
It just says canceled or possibly moved. It doesn't. I don't have any of that. It's just something that Bass sent out. So.
Oh, Bass sent that out, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. As we continue with the calls, we will see what else you can find on that. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, who is this?
Thanks. I just wanted to call. I am planning on fishing the Sam Rayburn Open as a co-angler.
Yep.
And I just wanted, it's my first time doing it, and I just wondered if you guys could go over some tips and stuff like that on how be a good co-angler and stuff.
All right, real quick, what was your name and where are you calling from?
Jared in Jinx,
Okay.
Jinx, Oklahoma.
Okay. Matt?
Go into it with a positive attitude that you're there to learn. Treat it like an experience instead of like, man, I'm here to cash a check and show my pro that I can catch them. And if you approach it with a positive attitude, with learning, with roll with the punches, whether you get a guy who drives 80 miles in zeros, you get stuck on top of a stump, you get a guy who takes you to an offshore spot and you catch 25 pounds. The whole thing with the co-anglers, in my opinion, is have a positive attitude, work together well with your pro, realize that some of your pros are there just to fish the opens too, but there's also guys there that like have invested, well, pretty much their whole life to be in that moment, and kind of do your own thing, relax, have fun with it, and realize that some of the best friends I've made were co-anglers in the back of my boat in the years past. You never know where it's going to lead, but take it serious, but not too serious, and go have fun and treat it as a learning experience. It's the best advice I could say.
It's good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Do you
man.
have any, are there any, unwritten rules? Like, I know I've heard, some people say don't cast above, the console or past the console, anything like that.
Here's what I would do, Jared, if I was you. I'd get in the boat first morning. What are those noises?
I don't know.
Those are bizarre. I would get in the boat first morning with my pro, shake his hand. I would call him the night before. And if he says, meet me at 5:30 at this spot, say, yes, sir, and be there at 5:20. I get in the boat, I shake his hand and say, listen, super excited to do this. Know you got a lot on the line, blah, blah, blah. Man, I'm here to learn, have a good time. First time fishing as a co-angler in one of these tournaments. If I break any of the unwritten rules, just look back there and tell me. Now, you've got a 99% chance you'll get a good dude who's like, hey, man, blah, 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 we'll walk you through it. You could get 1% asshole. Letting you know that. That's the guy in the front of the boat.
Yeah.
Right, Mark?
Yeah, 100%.
And then you're just like, okay, this is going to be one of those stories I tell for 5 years at the end of the day. But just say, hey, man, if I break any of the unwritten rules, let me know. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Typically, here's the basics that I would say. Just as a general rule of the thumb, don't step on the seats as you're getting there and back. Guy probably won't say anything, but he will look back and just go, ooh, stepping on the seats. Don't leave piles of grass on the back deck. You will be on Rayburn. There will be grass there. Just kind of clean your stuff up. Keep it nice and neat. And, man, all the co-anglers that I've had who have caught fish behind me, rarely, if ever, are they doing something remotely close to what I'm doing. And there's a good chance you'll be fishing grass or offshore or something, and he'll either be on a brush pile that you can't reach to where you're going to look around and maybe have to pick up a drop shot or something, or he'll be in a grass flat where you've got stuff target 360s and you're not even competing with him on it.
Hey, I'll tell you this right now. On Sam Rayburn, this time of the year, there have been a lot of really good performances out of the back of the boat throwing a Carolina rig. And I'm not just saying that just because I like to do that, but you can have the opportunity to capture clumps and, different things that the guy in the front of the boat's not even targeting. All right? And Matt made a great point. If he is fishing a brush pile or some very
you just ain't fishing it.
Yeah, so might as well get used to it and go ahead and throw out in the back of the boat and see if you can find something else that might be around the area.
You're also fishing for 3 fish, so you have to remember you could have a guy who spot locks on a brush pile specifically, and all you're going to do if you try to fish that brush pile is really piss that guy off.
Yeah.
So what you have to realize is you've got 8 hours over the course of that day. I realize it. Other guys realize it. It's not saying it's going to happen. But if I have a co-angler who is friendly, very positive, I know that guy doesn't have a shot at what I'm fishing. I know that. It's not like I'm oblivious to it or I'm being a jerk about it. But, if both people can cast to that, I've put in 4 days of practice and travel and the points and all that to try to make the Elite Series. I want to catch that 6-pounder. That could literally change my career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I realize all this stuff. I realize that guy is kind of getting screwed and there's nothing I can do about it. That's just the nature of the beast, the performance. That's why you're paying half and competing against the other co-anglers because there's 190 other guys that are getting screwed.
Yeah.
In a way, as if you're fishing a team tournament. But that being said, if over the course of the day or towards the end of the day, I've got a good limit and I see an opportunity for a respectful co-angler who's been positive the whole day, hell yeah, I'm going to open up and give him a shot. I'm going to say, man, I really appreciate it, dude. Like, get after it right here. Like, I've got a good limit, and all you need is 3 casts from the back of the boat. And I've seen, Guggers catch them on the last cast and stuff. So just know, just because part of your day isn't going well, or you're getting blocked out part of your day, instead of getting frustrated or try to compete with them, that could lead to more of an opportunity later in the day. Now, I'm not saying it will. You could have a guy who just sticks you in the back for 8 hours. But in general, that'll give you the best shot to succeed. And if you go in knowing that and expecting it, you won't be bummed out.
All right, man.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, man.
I love the show.
All right, man. Thanks. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right. Have you ever been to Jinx?
Yeah.
It's quite the city.
Yeah.
There
Well, I
with the
just wanted to see what
aquarium.
the high school looked like.
Oh, you never did? It looks
No,
like
I've seen
a
it. Yeah,
college
the
campus,
Jinx
man.
Union rivalry is
Yeah.
like the high school version of Texas OU.
Yeah. Real good advice there, dude.
Was it? I felt
Yeah,
like I was kind
yeah.
of rambling on it.
No, it's real
But that's
good.
the mental stuff that no one talks about. Like, everyone wants to talk about, and that's true. The gas money and where you can cast and can't cast.
Bring in
and stuff.
water. Bring your drinks. Don't depend on those guys.
Here's the biggest things. Show up early. Make every effort, if possible, to meet your boater where and when he says to meet.
Yeah.
Don't try to redo the plans. Like, I understand sometimes you have to be like, listen, I'm staying with a guy and he's not going to get there until then, or something like that. But if at all possible, if the guy says it, just say, I'll be there. Be there 10 minutes early. And expect that you're not going to have an equal opportunity, but that when you do have an opportunity, you're prepared to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Those are basic rules.
Yep. I like it. All right. Back to the phones. Who is this?
Hey guys, this is Blake from Georgia.
Blake, how are you, man? What's on your mind today?
Doing good. Hey, I was just going to pick y'all's brain real quick. I fished the BFL right after the Elite Series guys were at Eufaula. And I think I asked this question to Matt or Mark. I can't remember, right before the event. But anyways, I went over there and practiced and found some fish way up the river, about 20 miles above Lake Point. And the first day of the tournament, I didn't realize we were doing 3 fish, but I figured that would help me. So I ended up with like 9-11 on the first day, and I got the last check. But what I was going to ask y'all about is on the second day, there were a pile of boats up there, and it just blew everything out. And I ended up with only like 5.5 pounds with 3 fish. In that situation, there's not a lot of water up there, either Mark or Matt. What would y'all do in that kind of a situation?
Matt, you can go first on this one.
Just where you find yourself in a lot of boat traffic.
Yeah, and I mean it's more river fishing up there, because I was up the Chattahoochee River, which I mean it looks more like a river than it does a lake. There's a limited number of pockets and creeks that you can fish.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all just getting hammered. And I was catching fish on top water and flipping grass.
Yeah.
And the top water bite was completely non-existent. So I could catch fish flipping, but they were 12 to 15 inches.
And these were back-to-back BFLs, back-to-back days.
Yep.
You want the honest answer, or you want the bass fishing answer?
No, man, give me the honest answer.
Honest answer, and not understand how that fishery works. Realize it, you're screwed up there, pull the plug, and go fish for release fish for 6 hours.
I hear you.
I mean, you're going to be around fish. You know that you're beating your head against the wall on your stuff, and you obviously don't have enough time to go find anything new and don't have confidence in it, so go fish where the fish are. A release fish weighs the same as a clean, never been caught fish. And you're there to make money and fish in the BFL and get points. So pull the plug, go fish release fish. If you're going to battle with a bunch of other boats in a small area, battle with a bunch of other boats on fish that you already know are dumb enough to bite.
I hear you. BMR squared?
Yep, that's it. That's exactly what I was going to say, man. That is the plan.
And I say that, not knowing anything about that lake or how, how it works or what the other viable patterns were. But I mean, that 100%, no, you'd put your bait around 5 keepers. or 3 keepers, depending on what the limit was.
And you see that happen a lot too. When places get pressure or there's situations that develop, you'll see a bunch of guys group up where the retreads are. So.
Oh yeah.
That's great point, man.
Right there at Lake Point where everybody releases the fish. I mean, of course you can't fish inside the marina, but there's a lot of good looking stuff right around there. There's rocks, the bridge right there, and lots of grass and cypress trees right in that vicinity. So I did try it, at the very end of the day, like for 15 minutes, but obviously I didn't put in enough time for that, but it is what it is.
Hey, the only other thing that I would add on that is if you had any idea that area might get pounded because maybe there was another tournament up there or maybe there was some, a poker run. I don't know. I don't know what, why there were so many people up there in that area in that particular place. But a lot of that is in your tournament prep and realizing, what the environment could be on day one, what the environment could be like from a pressure standpoint on day 2, and then have some type of contingency plan in place, which would be go try and catch retreads.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, guys. I appreciate the info.
All right, man.
Great show, by the way.
Thanks, man. Thanks for being a fan.
It was interesting at the Arkansas River there. Day 2, I took out, was like about 100 something, and there were like 30 guys right by the ramp. But when I was coming in, on day 1, or it might have even been day 2. One of the days 2, I saw the release boat wasn't releasing them right there by the ramp. They were taking them down the way, but they had the BFL the next week, and I know guys who fished there didn't catch them by the ramp. They had the BFL the next week. Day 1, let all the fish go right by the ramp. Day 2, like half the top 10 came off of the release area.
Really?
Yeah, because they just had a pipe shooting them right out of there with like no off limits, 50 yards off limits.
Did you ever see Red 11 when they had the PVC pipe there?
No,
Red 11?
I wasn't. No.
You never. That was interesting. You weigh your fish,
and then you shoot them down the pipe,
and then you just turn around and release them right there in the pipe.
There you go.
And that was it. All right, let's go to the phones. Hey, who is this?
Hey, this is Rich from Florida.
Rich, how are you, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, so I actually kind of pressed that got through. I have a statement that I'm going to make here, and I want you guys to try to prove me wrong. So I personally think that the expansion of fishing, bass fishing all across the country, is really good for the industry, but could actually be bad for the actual fishermen. What do you guys think?
Okay, say it one more time.
Sure. So the expansion of bass fishing could be great for the industry. It obviously is great for the industry, but potentially bad for the actual fishermen. So to expand on that, as far as, how many people are fishing, getting their hands on rods, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But for tournament anglers, how many people are actually out there on the water getting, having problems with people that aren't too familiar with actually the sport of fishing can be intrusive.
Well,
if you go to Gunnersville, you hear nothing but horror stories of people just not paying any sort of respects to the actual angler and actually just, going out there because everybody else is fishing, so I want to pick up a boat, I want to fish too. And it may get to the point where it's so massive that it's just intrusive to the actual angler opposed to the guy that just got a boat because he saw a commercial and he's just doing it.
Everyone wants to grow the sport. No one wants to show up to a packed boat ramp.
Yeah.
Is what the basically.
Yeah. All right, here, I want to say this. All right, I'm going to refer back to the heyday, back when things were really, really, really good. And the lakes were packed. Here in Oklahoma, you had an opportunity just about every single weekend from the last weekend in February all the way through the last week of June. Just about every single weekend you could fish for a minimum of $20,000. There were 300 boat fields, and things were just great. But, all right, I did not see, and obviously you're going to have pockets of the country where it's just wall-to-wall boats. And you say Gunnersville. Mm-hmm. Gunnersville's always been that way. But I think that if we did so-called grow the sport, that the capacity of the bodies of water that we have would not really have a dramatic effect on the tournament angler. Now, would there be exceptions to that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the same time, what about the growth of recreational traffic? Ski boats, sea-doos, jet skis, all of that. There was a explosion when the economy was very, very good in that aspect. Heck, I was on Texoma this past Friday, and I know it was a 4th of July weekend. The wind was blowing maybe 2-3 miles an hour, and there were 4-footers all over the place because of all the recreational traffic. So you have a dynamic of, you might think that if this thing grows 10, 15, even 20%, that the lakes are going to be jam-packed. I think the capacity of the bodies of water across the nation could fully handle the additional growth that could take place in this game with very few pockets of exceptions. That's my thoughts. What about you, Matt?
I agree. I mean, I wonder what the impact is on Lake Fork after the McDonald's and the Big Bass stuff where you have 1,000 boats on a fishery like Lake Fork, and if there's a dramatic impact the week after that, and then if you had 1,000 boats on Lake Fork every single weekend for the entire fishing season, what that would be. I mean, it would suck to fish.
Yeah, but Lake Fork has been that way for years. I mean,
yeah,
forget
but
about
I'm
the
just
Big
saying.
Bass stuff.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if every lake was like that. Like, I mean, I avoid Arbuckle in the spring. I went 0 times this year.
Me too.
Because everyone was like, "Oh, there's 100 boats on the lake." Like, so fishing pressure from other people affected me, but like I'd be one of those guys anyway. Like, do I hold it against anyone for going? No.
But you may go to a Lake Eufaula, even Oklahoma or Alabama.
Yeah, and 150, 200 boats get swallowed up there.
Yeah.
I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I think there's pockets of the country that would be affected by that, but I think the vast majority of the capacity of lakes across the country, it would be very, very beneficial to the industry.
But dude, like we live in Oklahoma, there's like wide open spaces and 15 boat ramps on lakes, and you go the whole day sometimes without seeing people. I mean, you look at Brian the Carpenter's Instagram for Mike Live and stuff, and he's in like a Thursday night derby in New Jersey, and there's like 9 boats fishing one bank. Now imagine if like all that stuff doubled on all the metropolitan lakes and stuff, or you go up to Mille Lacs and there's twice as many people out there, and you do the pan around and there's 75 boats fishing. I mean, I think there's a lot more fishing lakes that people live around that are close to metro areas that get absolutely drilled already.
And the recreational traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you going to lakes that you're not naming? Because they're in the middle of nowhere. That's why you're driving there to fish them, because they're in the middle of nowhere.
That's a good point. All right. Anything else, Rich?
No, just wanted your feedback on that. I appreciate the show. Appreciate everything you guys do, and have a good day.
All right, man. Same to you. Yeah, from a capacity standpoint, I mean, there's going to be pockets of the country. I mean, heck, we talk about Guntersville and Fork all the time,
but at some point you're going to reach a deal where enough guys are going to be like, this isn't worth it, and then it's going to reach the peak capacity.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. So then you're going to have less, be replaced by new people. Some of them are going to quit.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. All right,
I mean, do you think we'll ever reach a point where it's just like too many bass boats?
No. Like not in the vast majority.
I mean, I know in California they allow X number of boats on the lake a day, right? You have to get there early.
Places,
you wait, you camp, you do it, or you draw a ticket, or you pay whatever in advance to do it, or you can fish on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. And other people fish on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever reach that around here. Do you?
No. I think the capacity is there for the growth. All right, back to the phones. Who is this?
Hello.
Yeah, who is this?
Hey, this is Rick in California.
Hey, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, I just kind of took like a little vacation from bass fishing for a long time, and I really love your guys' show. Came across it after watching Hallman, and just had a few questions. Really, for you guys, I don't really understand your background. I didn't really dig into it too much. I just caught Matt's interview with Kent Brown after he won the Open, And I just kind of want to get Matt's experience on that day. It seemed like a really mind-blowing thing for him to come through with a finish like that. And a little bit of your background, too, just kind of if you guys can kind of go over your background a little bit and tell me how you guys got to this point. I really love the show, and just wanted to ask Matt about that Open win.
Yeah, so you're referring to the Triple A victory in the U.S. Open in 2018, and that win came all down to boater draws. The only tournament I fished as a co-angler, and the reason I did it was because of the AAA. Your weight counts for your pro, and your pro's weight counts for you. So you're a team with that one guy for the day. Well, I mean, dude, I drew Nick Salvucci the first day. He won the Wild West. He finished second that tournament. He won the U.S. Open the next year, and then I drew Matt Shura, who really knows the lower end of the lake. Everyone that didn't go up to Overton the first day, went up there the second day. So I was up there with Nick, and we caught him. And then I just got lucky that a day was canceled because of the wind, so I didn't have a third draw. So I only had two, and then I fished with Shura, and there was no one in the lower end of the lake because everyone was trying to make up their weight in Overton on the second day. So we had the lake to ourselves. Caught 5 fish in the first 5 casts of the morning, and then Shura catches a couple big ones, and I catch a smallmouth at the end, and weigh in, and I lost a 430 something with Salvucci on the first day, and I know that because I ran a bait past a stick, and I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "There's a big one." I said, "Oh," and it just came off, and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "That was a big one. It put slack in the line." The next day, he comes up and he's like, "Hey, you know that one you lost off that stick?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I went back and caught it. It was a 4 something." So that would have given me 15. And then on day 2, Shura's throwing a topwater bait, and a fish comes up and misses it. And he's like, "Dang, I would have really liked to have known if that was this is right in the early morning. I would really like to have known if that was a largemouth or a striper." I said, "Well, we're fixing to find out because I cast back in there with a Ned rig and it's swimming off." And I reeled down to it, and I'll tell you how I know how big this one was. And it was another 4.5, 5 pound fish, every bit of it. And this is the only cocky thing, really cocky thing I've ever done. I give him a high five and say, "They never come off a Ned rig." While I'm fighting this stupid fish, I fight it for 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, I'm up he's like, "What do you want me to do?" I said, just give me the front deck. Let me get up and chase this sucker. Because I had 6 pound test on because it's Lake Mead. And I fight, and it just comes off. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So later that day, it was on this kind of rocky point with little clumps of grass, and I couldn't see any of it because it was early in the morning. We go up to the exact spot where I lost that fish. You look down in 25 foot of water, and you can see this fish sitting on top of the grass. It's like a 5 pound largemouth. Yeah, so the whole time I'm thinking, well, I just blew the whole thing on the AAA side because I didn't go in with any expectations. Basically, I was the only co who had 10 pounds each day with my guys, and it was just it was just one of those things that happened. It was very fortunate. Not lucky, fortunate.
We don't want to get into that discussion.
Right, I like that.
But yeah, that's the roundabout. I mean, that's the roundabout version. I had 2 guys who knew what was up.
I was looking at the instant feedback while you were telling that story. Did you mention that a day got canceled?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, and that was good. I don't know if anyone even knows this. No offense if Eddie Wood would happen to be my day. The day that got canceled, though, the guy was not good on Lake Mead.
And he wasn't on fish. He was kind of...
Yeah, he did not catch him. So what happened was he was supposed to be my day 3 partner. Right? So he just got canceled, and then my day 1 partner was Salvucci, and my day 2 partner was Shura, and that guy that I was going to have on day 3 caught 1 fish each day. So I would have...
It's just meant to happen. Some of those days, it's weird how that just happens, though.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
That's cool. It was cool. It was really cool.
That was the open story. As far as getting into it, grew up fishing, went to OU. This is 10 seconds. Watch this. Grew up fishing, went to OU. Joined the OU fishing team, interned with Mark Jeffrey at the Bass Zone, stuck around some more, interned for free for a summer, got paid nothing to organize thousands of videos and stuff, then tagged along at some tournaments, then he eventually started paying me. I went full time. We've been doing it ever since.
Nice. Now what's Jeffrey's? What's your background? Like I said, I just kind of found you guys, and I was asleep from bass fishing for If you could take somebody that fished 40 hours a week in 2010, pull them out of bass fishing and just ignore bass fishing, no social media, no YouTube, and they just woke up 6 months ago, that's me.
Wow. That's
so
interesting.
I'm that guy. So you guys, to me, I just found you guys. I know about the West Coast guys. I love hearing about the Oklahoma stuff. I love hearing Hallman's deal. And then Jeffrey's, Matt cracks me up. And Jeffrey's, you're funny. You kind of like square Matt up a lot. It's pretty cool.
Now, so where in California are you?
I'm actually in Southern California. I spent 8 years living up on the Delta, fishing constantly. I didn't fish tournaments up there. Listened to Kent Brown's show since I started fishing.
Yeah.
Had to teach myself to fish because all the gas stations were selling fishing poles and lures and bait when I moved up there. And I'm like, where's the fishing? They looked at me like I was nuts. They're like, go down the street right here. So I actually lived on the water in the Delta, a little place there in Manteca, California. And I fished Monday through Thursday for 5 years straight.
So where are you at now?
We used to go to I'm in Southern California, down in
where?
I got Diamond Valley. I got Silverwood right here.
Okay.
And I got my little local hole right here called Pudding Stone, which is a mud hole that has huge fish in it, but don't tell anybody.
Okay, we won't tell a soul. No, man, I grew up in California. Grew up in Long Beach. Ended up in Oklahoma. Graduated from the University of Oklahoma. Played baseball. Got into fishing based upon a guy that I played baseball with at OU. He had a farm pond. Caught my first bass in a farm pond, and I was hooked. And then, spent 25 years in the corporate world working for UPS. While I was doing all that, I was into technology. I was into bass fishing, and decided to get into this internet thing back in the, the 19.9 modems or 52K modems or whatever. Anyway, when you had dial up and it took forever to pull up the websites. And I was just really intrigued by technology. I was fascinated by what Mark Cuban was doing with broadcast.com. If you don't know the story behind Cuban made all of his money starting a streaming service that streamed sports on the internet. It was called broadcast.com. That's how he made all of his money when he sold that company to Yahoo. Right. I was intrigued by all that, decided to take some of the stuff that I was learning and apply it to bass fishing. Ended up retiring from UPS and went and started being a what I call a beat writer for the Elite Series. I was the only guy out there from an independent perspective when the Elite Series started. And then just kind of everything evolved. We were the first people to ever live stream from a professional fishing event from the Harris Chain, which is an epic story that we've told numerous times on this show. And then used to have a show on Sirius XM back when it was XM radio with a guy named Gary Judici. We did that for 2 years, and then the merger took place. And we decided to bleed off and do it on our own on the web. And then Gary kind of went away, and Matt and a couple other guys were a part of the show. And the show has just evolved into what it is today, of which I still believe that it's the only one that has multiple live shows on during the week that cover bass fishing. And, we have great fans, great people, and have great relationships with a lot of the pros because of the number of years that we put in covering this game. And a lot of people make it success, but it wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the fans. So I got IT, I got bass fishing, I fished around here. My big claim to fame was the Central Pro-Am, and I did very, very well in the Central Pro-Am. Fished BFLs, fished team tournaments, and was very familiar with what was going on, but really kind of made my way from a technology standpoint, taking a lot of stuff that I was learning and a lot of the business practices that I learned from being in the corporate environment at UPS for all those years. So that's kind of it, man. I've been back to California one time and went by my house that I grew up in. It was a crack house. It was a bad neighborhood. I told my kids, I said, you need to graduate because you don't want to end up like that. And their eyes were wide open when the door was knocked off and the windows were all busted out and there were, people hanging around that shouldn't have been hanging around. But it was kind of eye-opening for them. But, Matt and I, we
Awesome,
try to
awesome.
do the best. He's a big part of all the success that we've had, and this thing doesn't happen if it wasn't for Matt. So, yeah, we get on each other a lot, but I feel we make a pretty good team.
You guys do good together. Your banter is good. Matt's really intelligent. I like the way he speaks. For somebody as young as he is, he's really mature in the way he speaks, and he's very intelligent. I really love the show. You guys doing awesome. I know you're looking at him funny.
No,
you
he's
guys doing
looking at
awesome
me.
job. I really love this show.
I'm
and I'm
old.
glad I found you guys.
I'm old, dude.
All right, man.
I just have moments of acting young to make everyone think I'm young.
No, he's good, man. Have fun.
Thanks, dude.
Well,
Have
thank
fun
you
in
so
Cali.
much.
All right, take care.
All right, brother. Take care, guys. Thank you.
He's been out of the game since what, 2010?
Yeah.
Oh, should we break him the news about Mike Long? He would be heartbroken to hear that.
He might. Do you think he knows who Mike Long is? I don't know.
Yeah, because if he was back in it in 2010.
He should. All right. Well, super long show. We're going to take a couple more calls, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the phones. Who is this?
He's back in it 2010.
Hey, turn your radio down or computer down.
Super long show. We're going to take a couple more.
All right. I can't handle that. If you can hear me, turn your volume down. You there, man? Hello. I'm trying.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Who is this? Where are you calling from, man?
This is Tyler from Tennessee.
Tyler, what's on your mind, man?
I just had a quick question. Do you guys plan on having Kyle Welcher on anytime soon?
Actually, we had him on early in the year, and if you go to basszone.com, over in the bottom right-hand side, it's actually one of the best shows of the year. It's actually a showcase show that we had with Kyle, and once I actually thought about this, once the New York Swing was over, I wanted to get him back on the show. But yeah, just a really, really good show, and if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch it.
Definitely, yeah. I guess I did miss one.
Yeah, it's you can see it right on the main page, man.
Yeah, it was a good show. He really went into some stuff before the year. So yeah, once we got more than 2 tournaments in the books, I guess we'll have him back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought he does pretty well with talking to media and everything, especially for being a rookie.
Yeah, good dude, man. Got his game together, definitely. So we'll try to get him on after the New York Swing.
Yeah, so that was the only question I had, just a little quick one.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
All right, see you.
I forgot. He was the guy who moved to Vegas for a while and played poker professionally. And
Yeah.
he's got a crazy story. Go back and listen to that show.
That
if
was
you
a
haven't seen it.
really, really good show. That's why it's featured on that section that we have on the main page. All right, back to the phones. Who is this? Hey, you there, man?
Hi, this is Frank.
Frank?
Yeah.
Frank, where are you calling from, man?
I'm calling from Austria, actually, from Europe.
Oh, really?
Wow, very nice. All
Yeah.
right. What time is
Yeah.
it? What time is it right now over there?
Well, it's 5:30 in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. Well, what's on your mind, man?
Well, I just have a quick follow-up comment on the whole Googan stuff thing.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that it brought people like Rick Clunn to YouTube. So I think that's kind of, well, that's my whole point, I guess.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think that the value and what they have done and how they have inspired people to get into the game is definitely very unique and very creative, and it has been a tremendous way to showcase the game to so many people.
Is that how you got into it, Frank?
Well, I got into it. I stumbled upon Lunkers TV on YouTube like way before the whole Googan thing took off.
Right.
And so that's how I got into it. And then I stumbled over you guys' show, which is amazing. Thank you for doing it. And yeah, that's my whole bass fishing journey, I guess.
So did you, before you'd found lunkers and that, did you fish or Was it kind of one of those things where you saw it and then you fished because you saw it?
No, I was fishing before, but I was fishing for carp actually for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, I was in the hospital. I saw Longest TV, and we actually have bass in Austria.
Really?
So I got into it, and you know.
So are there a lot of bass in Austria?
Yes, we're very fortunate actually. I mean, we don't have like 15 pounders. It's not like California, but there's a lot of bass, and there's very few people actually fishing for him, which is kind of cool, I guess, for me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no bass fishing culture as such. But there's a lot of bass, and it's good fishing.
Wow, Frank, I want you to do me a favor. All right, please do this for me. The next time that you go out and you're bass fishing in Austria, please take a picture of the fish that you catch with some kind of background or wherever you are and email it to me. Okay, mark@basszone.com. I really want to see this. I'm intrigued by this bass fishing in Austria.
I'm looking at it right now on the
Yeah.
map. I'm looking at lakes. Let's see if I could do it. Traunsee, Traunsee. Are those all?
No, you need to go further south. I'm actually right on the border to Italy, so on the very southern end of Austria.
Okay,
And
I'm
that-
there.
Yeah, and that's basically the only area, the only province that has bass population. I guess it kind of came over from Italy. But this part of Austria has bass, and yeah.
Like in the rivers or the lake? Like what about Wörthersee? Wortherse?
That's basically the lake I live on, and
really,
that's got that's got bass in it. I guess it came over like in the 1800s from America, and we got him, and very few people fish for him, which is kind of good for me, I guess, but it's kind of strange.
Yeah, largemouth.
Yeah, largemouth.
Yeah, largemouth.
And you have bass
There's
boats
no
and stuff,
smallmouth or spotted bass. Excuse me?
Bass boats or just aluminum boats or?
Well, I basically fish from the shore.
Okay.
Most of the time, and I got a little tiny aluminum, like a tin boat kind of thing. And there's actually, well, it's starting to come over. There's a few bass boats, but there's no used boat market, so it's very expensive to get one. So, I'm a bank fisherman. Basically.
What about ponds? I'm seeing like a bunch of little lakes, ponds around here. Like over here, we have farm ponds, right? So you drive past farm, it's got a pond there. Maybe it's a strip pit that was made when they built up the highway. There's bass in all of those. All these little ponds, you have bass in there?
Well, it's not like there's bass in every farm pond or every ditch.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of depends. So a few got them, and a few, don't have them. And in almost all of the lakes, the bass is not the apex predators.
Right.
We got a lot of pike and catfish and walleye, I guess, and perch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, you guys have those
They're
giant
selected.
perch-looking things. They look like a yellow perch out of the Great Lakes, but they get like the size of a walleye.
Really?
Yeah, they get up to like 6 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is humongous.
And
yeah,
then-
but they look kind of similar, but I guess it's not the same.
Yeah, and then
species
what
or
do you
whatever.
call your walleye? They're called something else too.
Yeah, they're called Sander, actually.
Yeah, Xander with a Z, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched that
and
too.
They get a little bigger than you walleye.
Yeah, you know how I know that? I was watching a YouTube video and I was like, this guy is a perch god. Like I have never seen, like this guy is catching the biggest. I'm like, who is this guy? And then I realized he was in Europe and that they were not the yellow perch from the Great Lakes. I thought he was on the Great Lakes. So can you?
No, they're all over Europe and they're very big, like in Sweden, the Netherlands. There's a huge culture, like bass culture. There's like a perch culture.
Yep.
Actually, or
Hold him by the belly. You hold him by the belly with the dorsal fin up.
Yeah. So what's the weather
yeah,
like
and
right
people
now?
try to hide the fingers to make the fish look bigger, and it's kind of weird.
Wow. All right. What's the weather like? I mean, what is the season fishing-wise over there like?
Well,
Right.
kind of like in the Midwest, it's like 100 degrees right now, so it's summer.
Okay.
And yeah, it's basically Midwest climate, I guess.
Yeah, you are. I mean, on the as far as the the latitude or longitude, whatever, you are kind of upper Midwest, a little bit further north.
It's very similar. Well, we got the same kind of seasons, the same transitions. We got fish spawning in April, May, so it's the same basically.
Very cool.
All right, man. Shoot me a picture. Email me a picture. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the area, the lake, the water that you're talking about, and we'll definitely share it on the show.
All right.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
man.
you so much for doing this show.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thanks, Frank.
I think we ended on that one.
Wow,
Mark.
that was...
We got to end it on that one.
Austria. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, here. I'm going to throw up an instant feedback here real quick that I want to address. All right, it says, ESPN has way more households than Discovery. Come on, Mark, do your research instead of being a mouthpiece for Duckett. Folks, what did I say? I know it's been a 2-hour show. I said the ESPN thing was a massive thing. I said it and really, really talked it up when they had all the ESPN coverage at the last event that they did. When it comes to number of households, that is based upon specific numbers, cable subscriptions, all kinds of other analytics. You're right. I don't know. I don't know what the number of households is for ESPN and Discovery. What I do know is the reach, as the discussion that Matt and I had, was far greater on ESPN than Discovery. Did I not say that, Matthew?
I believe you did.
So, come on, man. I mean, geez. I'm giving them props. It is a big, big deal to have that much coverage on ESPN. And it's huge for the industry. It's huge for bass. Most importantly, it's huge for the anglers. All right? And I think sometimes the advantage gets forgotten that these guys have by the exposure that bass is not having to pay a single dime for with ESPN.
I'll say this. It's like human nature, good and bad. So, like, if you're going to inherently think bass is good, Major League Fishing is bad, then anything that is said about Major League Fishing that is said in a negative or that is said in a positive light, you're going to vehemently disagree with.
Yeah.
So we try very hard to be
neutral
about this and look at it equally from that. So you could go back and make an entire show of clips that Mark say that make him think that MLF is the greatest thing to happen since sliced bread. You could also go back, make an entire show of clips that Mark has said of things he disagrees with, where he thinks MLF has stumbled, and make it sound like he thinks MLF is the worst thing on earth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's healthy in the discussion, but if they do something positive, regardless of what organization, if the NPFL comes on and is great, we'll talk about how great the NPFL is.
Yeah.
If it comes on and it's not great, we'll give constructive criticism just like we do for the other two based on our opinions.
Yeah.
But
that's how we roll.
I still think some of this stuff that you're getting, the pushback on being an MLF homer and stuff, goes back one time to one of our callers did. They're still trying to overcome that stigma from some missteps in the first 6 months since it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of some lingering effects there.
Yeah.
Do you not agree?
I agree. And the challenges that lie ahead for that organization, I mean, we kicked off the show talking about it. Dude, there are some major challenges from a revenue standpoint, from a sponsorship standpoint, from an angler standpoint that is going to have to be addressed as a result of the COVID-19 situation, of which I still say and have said numerous times on this show that even without the COVID-19 situation, they had some challenges that they had to overcome. So
yeah. It's not like, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody made a great point. When they're open, you go into a restaurant or a bar and they have the flat screens up there. Most of the time, what do they have on
ESPN 2.
ESPN or ESPN2. Stuff's getting exposed on that. So the amount of exposure is massive to get that on the ESPN network, be it ESPN or ESPN2. Right. What else, Matthew? Long show, man.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Great stuff.
Took like 15 callers.
Yeah. Yeah. Greatly appreciate that. Appreciate the video call. And please send us some feedback if you would like to see a sports talk type call-in show that we do just like the Sunline Hotline, maybe one additional show a week. Let us know that, and we'll see what we can accomplish in moving maybe toward a fourth show during the week. I know we did a number of fourth shows at the peak of the COVID-19 situation when everybody was kind of...
hopefully the peak.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. So that's going to wrap things up. Next week, kind of a weird week. All right, we got a Monday show, no show on Tuesday. Then we'll have a Wednesday show and a Thursday show next week. I am fishing with the River Czar on Tuesday, Matthew. Are you going to try and fish in that?
It just depends if it's legal for me to fish in it.
Yeah, I think so.
You don't have to be old?
I don't think so. I think that's just the
think and know are two different things.
Vast majority of what people do are the old people that fish that. There's young people. Terry Butcher fishes it. He's still young.
Yeah, but that's Terry Butcher. He probably gets an exemption. Everyone likes Terry Butcher.
All right. I want to thank everybody once again, all the people that called in today on the Sunline Hotline show. As I mentioned earlier, if you're in the area, the Four Corner area, and you want to check out all the brand new Bass Cat boats, please go to their website, find out all the info. Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Norfolk Lake there in Mountain Home, just outside of Mountain Home. And check out all the new lines that Bass Cat is going to offer, and you can go take a ride in that 450 monster. Have you been in it, Matt?
Yeah, I have not ridden it. I've idled in it. I've sat in it.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've videoed it. But I was there during the owners or the dealers meeting.
Yeah.
Right. So they had dealers and a bunch of people way up more important, people that they were actually in it to for important reasons. So I filmed it and stayed in the background.
I got you.
But I touched the gunnel, sat in the seat. There's they idled from one side to the next. I hopped in it. It's a big boat. I mean, the 450 fits the boat, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a big boat, all right.
All
it's
right.
a fast boat, too.
Yep.
Very fast. All right, everybody, be safe out there. We're back on Monday. That's it. We're out of here.